Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, 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 ba-da-da-dum, bum, bum, ba-dum, ba-ba-dum, da 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 dum, bum, ba-dum, dun, 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 da dun da dun da dun da dun dun da dun 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 bum 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 difficulty getting onto Facebook bum 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 ba da da dum bum bum ba da ba da 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 dun da da dum bum ba dum ba da 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 da
Some more.
da 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 ba da da. Let's see. We're going to start up. It's wonderful to see you all. Can you all hear me? Greetings from Little House in the Big Woods. Ah, tech and Facebook. Yep. Audio is going in and out. We don't know. We don't know. I'm in Buffalo, New York, where everything happened, breaking up a little, glitchy. Hello. Let's hope that the audio stops going in and out and we get some of this action going here. And I'm going to look to see if we can do anything more about Facebook Live. It could be this. This is the no, maybe not. Let's look at this. This is it. 26.
No, it won't be.
No. All righty. So we're just going to keep trying to load up. Hello, my friends. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Joette Calabrese. And I do one thing this, but I know homeopathy. And as a mom who used homeopathy exclusively for her now children, and in practice, in private practice for 30 years, full time, I love to meet with you all. For those of you who do know me, hello, my pain. No, I have an entire course titled Pain. And if you're interested in any of my online courses, if you want to go deeper, you want to learn more, you want to know more protocols, you want to know Joette's Learning Center, Joette's Learning Center, no apostrophe, and take a look at my course choices. But pain is certainly one of them. I see St. Jude at your side. Yes, he is awesome, and we have friends in high places, haven't we? Yes, we have. There he is, right there, St. Jude. Can you see it? You can actually see it right there. Yeah, you can, can't you? Um, yes, on the 8th day of Christmas. Yes. So my friend, darn, it's so glitchy. Oh, it's frustrating. So I'm back in Buffalo after that terrible storm, and my husband Perry and I were in Canada when it happened, just literally just over a bridge, just so close. 9, 7 minutes away from downtown Buffalo. My children all got really coasted and very we didn't want snow. They said it went up, they had gusts up to 70 miles an hour, and we certainly felt in that. So it was so this Monday, we celebrated Christmas because there was a driving ban for so long in Buffalo. And get so We're still working at this book. Matters not. Perry will take care of that, and I will take care of the business at hand. Let let's see. Can you get a little louder? You know what? I am going to get closer to my microphone. That might make all the difference in the world. Does that make a difference, my friends? Is it still glitchy? It's not good tonight. They're saying, yeah, the internet. It must be the internet is bad. Let's see. Very glitchy. Let's see if it makes a difference when I speak literally only a word or two. Very frustrating. Yeah. We're going to see what else we can do. It does help. It's helping. No, it's better. It's better. Very glitchy, says Francine. Wishing you all a happy new year as well and a Merry Christmas. Uh, much better. Yes, still glitchy, says Aaron. Some are saying it's better, some are saying it's still glitchy. I'm going to stay very close to the microphone and maybe that will help. Um the holy angels pray for us. Saint Michael defend us in battle. Ellen. Yes, this volume is better when you are closer to the mic, but still a bit weird. I'll stay nice and close. So tonight, we're going to talk about pain once again. And as I said earlier, in case you missed it because it was too glitchy to understand, um, closer does seem better. Okay. So I have many courses if you're interested. They're online courses, and one of them is devoted completely to pain. And if you go to Joette's Learning Center, Joettes, no apostrophe, Joette's Learning Center, and look at my courses. And if you happen to be one of my study groups, you can buy them as part of a group and you get a substantial discount. And I also have to tell you more about discounts. Um, Before I started on, I saw a lot of conversations around the pharmacies, and I will tell you that OHM is revamping their site. No worries, my friends. They have what I consider quite a substantial discount for students of mine. And I think I don't know if it includes, I can't tell you who else it includes. I know for sure it's for students. It's quite substantial. And yes, their prices have increased. And to be honest, my friends, I have to tell you that I'm happy that they increased them. I know that sounds crazy, but I want them to survive. And I don't know if you've been following what the FDA, the new guidelines from the FDA are involved in, are related to. But these pharmacies are going to be required to comply even more tightly, as though it isn't tight enough. The compliance that is required by these homeopathic manufacturing pharmacies in the US and, of course, in other parts of the world. But here certainly is the FDA, Food and Drug Administration. And they are very strict with pharmacies, and they have no love, is my sense, for homeopathic pharmacies. Now, they may have an individual auditor that happens to not have an opinion, but in the FDA does not um, love homeopathy because we don't have lobbyists like the other kind of industry that the FDA regulates. And that's putting it mildly. I don't think it's about lobbying any longer. I think those days are long gone. I think it's gotten much more powerful than just what a lobbyist can do. But at any rate, I want these pharmacies to survive. I'm always concerned when I see a pharmacy selling or closing up. I'm talking about manufacturing pharmacy. That is a big concern. We need pharmacies all over the world, but we especially, if we're American, we need American pharmacies. It is very, very, very important. And certainly, I've purchased remedies from companies, manufacturing companies outside of the US, but I'm going to be honest with you, my preferred pharmacies are Helios, HM, Hahnemann. Those are my top homeopathic manufacturing pharmacies. Now, a lot of people then come in and say, "Well, what about this company or that company?" Well, I don't know them all. Those are the ones that I've used for the last 35 years of my career. And some of the companies that sell homeopathics are retailers. So what I'm talking manufacturing pharmacies who then retail. So OHM, by the way, I might add, is as far as I'm concerned, top-notch manufacturing pharmacy, and they have not been retailers. I've actually asked them to please retail on my behalf and on behalf of my clients and students so that we could get the Banerjee protocols more readily available in the US, and they have obliged me years ago. Um, very, very good companies that I'm talking about right now, okay? So, I know it sounds to me like I'm still, cutting out. So it's OHM Pharma, OHM, also Hahnemann Pharmacy, San Francisco area. OHM Pharma is in Texas. Hahnemann in California, Washington in West Virginia, Washington Homeopathics in West Virginia, Boron, which is the one in the little blue tubes, very well known in the health food stores. They manufacture out of California and Pennsylvania, but they're a French company. So I these are the one, and I like Helios very much in England, very good company. There are some great homeopathic manufacturing companies, but I do urge you to, if you're looking for the code for OHM, you contact my office. Yes, absolutely. If you're in the gateway 1 and 2. And so then just contact or work with your leader for your gateway group. They can usually get that going for you. Yeah, you might not be able to get into OHM. As I said earlier, I think it's because it's been glitchy and you can't hear me so well. They are revamping their site. Lots of changes. Their discounts are, in my estimation, quite substantial. I just got a notice from them, I think 2 days ago. And so just be patient, my friends, support them, support all of these manufacturing pharmacies. They're all very important in our lives if we want this to go forward. Yes, thank you. And here's the great list of pharmacies right here. Got that going. So let's talk tonight about pain, shall we? Let's talk about headache pain. Now, I'm going to tell you that the subject of headaches in homeopathy is so vast um, because a headache is not, you don't just take a Tylenol or morphine or an aspirin or any of those kinds of medicines, and then it takes care of the pain. In that paradigm where we're using an analgesic, where someone is using an analgesic, it is intended to squash the pain, which, at certain times in our lives has value. There's no doubt about it. When you have no choice, you don't know about homeopathy, you don't know how to uproot the condition, then by all means, you want to just get rid of that pain. But as you well know, I'm sure you all know this, that every time you take a synthetic drug, this is a writer downer, it drives the condition potentially to a deeper state. Someone tells me, I used to get migraines, maybe once a month. Now I get them every 3 days. Well, most likely it's because the condition has progressed because of the use of the synthetic, patented, commercialized drug. I'm not going to slap that person on the back of their hand because I understand migraines are very, very painful. And if someone um, is suffering, they, especially from migraine, they need relief. So I get it. And if they're unfamiliar with homeopathy, but now, my friends, you are familiar with homeopathy and you're going to learn about this. So I cover headache pain pretty thoroughly in my course titled Pain in Joette's Learning Center. But let's say you don't want to go that far. You just want to learn a little bit here. You just want to put your toe into the water. Then let me teach you a couple of ways to look at this. There are many different headaches, as I said. Sometimes It's sinus pain, sinus headaches. Sinus headaches, it sounds like, oh, inconsequential, right? Oh, nay, nay. Sinus head pain can be gobs. It can be so painful that someone, well, you can get ocular disturbances from these kinds of headaches. The pain is very severe. It's usually around the face, above the eyes, between the eyes, under the eyes. It can go into the teeth. The pain can be also at the top of the head or the top of the crown of the head. Occipital pain. It can be pain that goes into the ears, into because as you can imagine, the sinuses run into the eustachian tube. Um, no, the sinuses go around. it goes. It takes exit 32 on Route 95 in New York State, and it goes all the way around to the ramp, and then goes around to the other ear. It's almost as though the pain of sinus headaches at in every little tunnel. Hmm. I love this. Kimberly is saying sanguinary and belladonna, and that's a very, very important remedy. So I'll start with that. Sanguinaria is a great medicine for headaches that are sinus related, and that's 200. Sanguinaria 200C twice. I guess you are you catching this with me? So sanguinaria 200C is sanguinaria specific for sinus conditions. Belladonna, when taken simultaneously with sanguinaria, you see, and that's where OHM Pharma comes in because they'll combine them for you. Belladonna with sanguinaria is what deals with the actual pain, where sanguinaria is dealing with the sinus condition. Can you hear me? You can hear me. Okay, you can hear me. Good. So, sanguinaria 200C mixed with belladonna, and sometimes it's belladonna 3, sometimes it's belladonna 30. I have found that in both circumstances, it can be very useful in either potency for belladonna. But there's another medicine for sinus pain, and I've actually written about this regarding my own pain that I used to have. I used to have sinus pain anytime there was a barometric pressure change. And I was living in Buffalo, New York, on the Great Lakes, where we had barometric pressure changes that occurred every 3 or 4 days. The weather on the Great Lakes can be quite extreme and certainly is unpredictable and also is chronically changing. Um, and so I used Kali, Kali, chromium, Kali, L-I, and I used it in a 30th potency. I love that remedy in a 30th potency. And so I took 1 dose, and at the time, this was many years ago. I'm gonna say this had to have been 35 years ago. The pain was very severe. Every time I got this pain, and it was every few days or so, every week, something like that, I would just, I used to take 222s that had codeine in fact, I couldn't even buy them in the United States. I used to have to drive over to Canada to buy this. 222 is what it was called, and it had codeine. I was taking so much codeine, these painkillers, that I was causing more problems in other ways. So when I learned about homeopathy, I decided to give it a try and tried Kali Bicromium 30, and I only took 1 dose. I did not know any better than to just take. I didn't know you're supposed to repeat it. So it didn't do anything. But then the next time I tried it again, this time I took it, as I recall, this was a long time ago, my friends. So as I recall, it was about every 3 hours. And I think it was second or third dose, and the pain went away. I was flabbergasted. I was quite impressed. And so the next time there was a barometric pressure change, I didn't get a headache. And I thought, wow, isn't this odd? I didn't even get a headache. Waited a little longer, a couple more weeks, and in came another barometric pressure change. And that time I did get a headache, but it was a much lesser one. It was no longer screaming across my face. It was no longer so devastating that I was useless. I could get nothing accomplished during the day. So I took that Kelly Bicromium 30 once again, and I think it took maybe 2 doses that time as well. That was in 1980, I wanna say 1987 maybe, and I've never had a sinus headache again. I've never had any headache again. These headaches were something that I had for about close to maybe 5, 6, 7 years, something like that, on a regular basis. Went away, gone. So what does that tell you about homeopathy? It tells you that this is not about reducing pain, although that is obviously one of the great benefits. But correcting the condition. It corrected the condition so that when barometric pressure shifts came through Buffalo, New York, where I lived, it was inconsequential. My body did not react. You're right. It's amazing. No pharmaceutical will do that. That's why we love homeopathy. Hi, Bob and Deb. So it made the correction. So, what that also tells you is this: pain, or any symptom for that matter, is a sign. It's a sign of something. It represents something bigger and much grander than simply the headache. It means that something else is going on. Now, do we need to know what it is? No. It's not only that we do not need to know what it is, but to try to figure it out is really painstaking and often futile. So instead, what I urge folks to do is just use the symptoms. That's what homeopathy uses. Symptoms are gifts. What was the pain? The pain for me was above my eyebrows. It started on my left, and then it would go clear across my eyebrows, and then my whole face would be just incapacitated. That's how I decided to use Kelly Bicromium 30. Now, if I were to get another one of those headaches, although it's highly unlikely in my estimation, but if I were to get another one of those headaches, I would not wonder, what should I do? I would immediately return to the medicine that acted so well last time, which was Kelly Bicromium 30. All righty, that's one. Now let's talk about another one. Let's talk about belladonna. Belladonna is a great medicine to own. Make sure you own it in a 3, in a 6, a 30, and a 200. Belladonna. Belladonna, beautiful woman, is what it means in Latin. And so you want to own that medicine in those potencies. You have our limited funds. Well, let me put it to you this way. Don't tell me you have limited funds. Cut back on something else. I know that sounds, I don't know, harsh. My friends, there's nothing more important than owning these medicines. Food, shelter, your medicine. You need to own these medicines. You must own these medicines. So if you have to skimp on something else, if you have to shop at the Salvation Army, if you have to make all your gifts that were Christmas gifts, whatever, homemade, if whatever it takes, my friends, own these medicines and know how to use them. All right. So, belladonna mixed with belladonna 30 mixed with glonoinum, 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 glonoinum 30 mixed with belladonna 30 can be taken every 3 hours for pain in the face. Can also be a kind of a head pain, but it's often a pain that can emanate from the face and go to the head. It's not my first choice for what I just described with the sinus pain, barometric pressure shift, that kind of thing. No, this is a little different. Glenoidum 30 and belladonna 30 every 3 hours mixed together. Now, if you don't purchase from OHM, who mixes these for you as one medicine, then buy each one, glenoidum 30 and belladonna 30, and mix them yourself directly in your mouth. Put 4 pills of one in your mouth and 4 pills of the other, and hold them under your tongue and suck on them. And it is an excellent medicine for pain that can be kind of a nerve pain or even emanating from teeth. Now, pain that comes from teeth, especially if it's deep, is usually quite painful. Quite painful. Somebody just said pain in the teeth. So, this is the kind of pain that emanates from the teeth. It can be used possibly for pain that's in the head that is also in the teeth. But my first suggestion for pain in the teeth, depending on what we mean by pain in the teeth, we have two main remedies for that. Hypericum, when it is extremely painful, such as after a dental extraction, of course, then the tooth is gone. But uh, pain in the teeth from an injury is hypericum, Hypericum, Hypericum 200C. And here's one that you may not know about. I love this medicine for sensitive teeth. Eating ice cream, something cold, pain in the teeth. Eating something with sugar in it, causing sensitivity and pain in the teeth. Same idea. Pain coming from heat, pain from biting down. Now, I'm assuming that, let me just say this parenthetically before I go on to describe it to you. I'm assuming that the pain is not coming from an infection, because if it's an infection, we have to deal with that differently. A gum boil or cavitation or cracked tooth, fractured tooth, something like that. I'm assuming that the integrity of the teeth is intact. But many times people have pain in the teeth because the enamel has thinned, or that's the explanation. And the medicine, my friends, for that, anybody know? See if anyone knows the remedy for pain in the teeth. If you've taken my pain course, you would know this. I'm going to leave it up there and see if anyone knows what sensitive teeth, pain in the teeth is, what medicine I'm thinking of. There are many, and if you were to repertorize it, you would probably find many. Kelk floor is a very good medicine for enamel that has thinned, no doubt about it. And that can have somewhat painful teeth, but I'm thinking of another one. Painful for Hecla lava is a possibility. Yes, Hecla lava. This is one that's not as common as Kelk floor. Hepar sulf. Hepar sulf has more to do with gums that are painful because they're swollen and infected, or gum boil. Chamomilla. Oh, chamomilla. Oh, these people, you guys know your stuff. Chamomilla for teething, you bet. Hecla lava helps my teeth pain. Hecla, another good one. Yeah, gunpowder. You guys are great. I'm just gonna wait a little bit longer to see if anyone comes up with this one medicine I'm thinking of that has also, I'll give you another clue about this remedy. It's also really good for eczema of the scalp. Kelk Foss, good job. Good job. I mean, really, you folks know your stuff. I'm really impressed. Silica can have very sensitive teeth. Yep. But if it's just plain garden variety pain without anything particular going on, it is Mesoreum. Mesoreum. Mezurim. I'm doing it. I'm air spelling it. Mezurim. Mesoreum. Mesoreum 200C. Mesoreum 200C. I've used this for clients through the years. It's not for, remember now, this is not for if there's an infection. This is not for if there's been an injury. This is not for when it's when there are gums that are swollen and infected or swollen and enlarged. Mesoreum, Kimberly. Yes, that's right. Hi, Kimberly. It's not regrowing gum tissue. Regrowing gum tissue is back to we were just talking about that one was heap ourself, my friends. Heap ourself is excellent for that. Over time. Also, oil pulling, having nothing to do with homeopathy, but oil pulling. So apparently, you folks can hear me now. Yes, is it no longer glitchy? Is the sound good? I mean, we're going a little over time, but I'm hoping that mesoreum. So if the pain is in the tooth, but likely from receding gums, no, receding gums. If the pain is from receding gums, we're going back to receding gums remedy, most likely. I'm not going to tell you mesoreum can't do the work, but receding gums is calc floor, Hepar sulf, etc. Sounds good. Okay, great. Mostly good. It's a little glitchy. Okay, good. All right, let me just get a little bit closer. Glitch every now and again. All righty. There's another medicine I want to talk about. We're going to go a little overtime tonight because it started off on shaky ground. One of the main let me also go back to different kinds of headaches. Some headaches, as I said, are in the front, sinuses. Some headaches are on top. Some headaches are at the occipital area. Some headaches start at the shoulders. There's tense, and it tightens up and it goes up the neck and all the way across the head, the occipital area, and then can overtake the entire head. Some headaches are around the menses. Some headaches are when from stress. So, what makes it worse? Where it's located, whether or not it's better from pressure or worse from pressure. If there's an issue with sound and light, you see, we could keep going with this. If the headache is as a result of a cold or a flu, if the headache um, commences in the ears. All of that is very, very important to help us determine, which is why treating a headache homeopathically can be very complex. So I'm just going to give you a taste of it tonight because there's so much to learn about this. In fact, if you have a repertory with you and you open it up, many repertories have a whole section just on headaches. Um, If I get a headache, it's always over the right eye, says Karen. My friends, Karen, my friends, help Karen. We just talked about that. We just talked about not more than 10 minutes ago. All right. So while you're helping Karen, I am going to um, talk to you about another medicine. This is a medicine where there is some this for headaches. There can be vertigo, particularly on first rising. It doesn't mean that the person has a headache at this moment. This could be independent of the headache, but it could also be concomitant with the headache. It's worse in a warm room, and it's better when lying flat. And what I would say most noteworthy about this medicine is that the pain commences at the time of waking in the morning. And it can be a pain that is bursting, bam, bam, or it can be throbbing with the heart, with the beat of the heart. And the headache with the beat of the heart is generally not as strong as that bursting pain that some people get. It's generally not the same person that gets both of these sensations. It's either bursting pain or it's a throbbing pain. And the throbbing pain is dull. And so it can be frontal, it can be occipital, um, and sometimes if it starts in the head, it can go to the nape of the neck. Not the nape of the neck up, head to nape. I've got my notes here. Sometimes it does start over the right eye. If the question came in regarding a headache that always starts over the right eye, if it is a sinus headache, in other words, how would we know? You're looking at whether or not there's been a barometric pressure change. The clouds were low. Now, a day later, the clouds lift. There are no clouds. That's when we would see a barometric pressure change, or vice versa. That's an example. There are many other ways for barometric pressure change to present itself. If that is an aspect of it, then that pain that commences on the over the eye can be what we talked about earlier, calibicromium. Calibicromium is most often noticed over the left eye, but it certainly can start over the right eye. It's just over the eye. But this medicine can start over the right eye. It can be, as I said, bursting pain, dull throbbing pain. Worse on first waking up in the morning, first opening the eyes, and it is kind of pain that is made better when the person puts something cool on their face, or if they can step outside and get fresh, cool air. Doesn't mean it's going to go away under those circumstances, but it's going to get to the point where it's ameliorated to a certain degree. That's what they crave. I just have to put something cold on my head. I just have to put something cold over my eye, on the back of my head. Coldness or getting cold, fresh air makes the person feel a little more comfortable. The remedy is bryonia. 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 Now, this medicine has had a lot of attention lately, particularly by me, because bryonia is such a great medicine for colds and flus, for the lungs, for mucosal membranes. And it's also what I read to you, Mighties, those of you who are with Mighties, Facebook Live people have not joined Mighties, from Dr. Compton Burnett's book, 50 Reasons to be a Homeopath. And so that he found that bryonia turned him around in such a grand way that he couldn't deny that homeopathy was useful. So what potency would I use if I had a headache that was such as what I described? I would use it in either a 30th potency or a 200th potency. How often would I take it? If the pain was extraordinary, like somebody kill me, this is outrageous, I would take it every 15 minutes for the first hour and then open it up to more infrequent timing. Unless it was gone. If it goes away, we don't need the medicine, right, my friends? I want to be sure everyone understands that is the way this works. That when the medicine acts, we stop using it for acutes. This is an acute situation. When the medicine doesn't work after several doses, we put it aside and look onto another medicine to consider. Yes, bryonia is also very effective for joint pain. Someone's talking about nat sulf and high potency. Nat sulf is one of my favorite remedies for head injuries, old head injuries, old. 30 years ago, person had a severe head injury, and ever since then, they had a condition such as headaches. Nat sulf, she's absolutely right. And a high potency. Yep, worse for movement. Worse for movement. So now that I've told you given you a list of these medicines, glenoidum, belladonna, bryonia, what did I start with? calibicromium. I want you, even if none of those fit your life or someone in your family who you're trying to help, I want you to go to your Materia Medica and read up on each one, or read just one tonight. Even if you know these medicines, do it anyway. Then you're going to read it the next day and add the second medicine to study, to read. Then on the third day, you're going to read the first and the second day's remedy and then add the third remedy. That's how a great way for you to learn. If you're thinking of someone in your family or a friend for any one of these medicines, in the margin of your book, if you've got my Materia Medica, I've left lots of space along the sides for you to write, keep little notes, and it will help you remember it better. All right, my friends. Well, we've gone on for a while. It's wonderful to see you all here. And yeah, it's one of the things. Thank you, my friends. Happy New Year. It's wonderful to see all you here. Stay focused. Own your medicines and skill up. This is the time. This is the place. The world is changing and it's changing rapidly. You need to be fully armed. And as I said in my last, add your mom. I want you to be on the ready, fierce, and capable. And so, with that, I say, God bless you all. Bye.